Um, Your Honor, you like us to unmute?
You over here asking for extra sacks. Yes, I see too, sir.
One moment.
Okay. Watch it. Okay. Yeah. There you go. No. Yeah. Go to.
All righty. So go ahead, Ms. Bermudez, and raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to translate from English to Spanish and from Spanish to English to the best of your ability? All right. And okay, so we went through the name, the charge, your witness, Eddie ASG Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. The state would call Officer Michael to the stand. Officer Michael, can you turn your video on and raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am. You can see me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Officer Charles Michael,
And where do you work, sir?
Clayton County Police Department,
And how long have you worked there?
5.5 years.
And are you post-certified, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Payne, Ms. Payne?
Yes. I can't hear what she's saying if she's trying to say something to me.
You may be on the wrong. Did you select on the interpreter? Did you select English?
I didn't see anything pop up to select anything, so I didn't select anything.
Look down there. It should be there. You should receive something at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I think I found it. Yes.
Thank you.
And are you post-certified, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post-certified on March 13th
Yes, ma'am.
of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty that day?
Yes.
And mm, did you have a chance to encounter the defendant, Pablo Estrada Barrera?
Yes, ma'am.
And what drew your attention to him, sir?
I responded to the area of Morrow Road and Old Dixie, called him by a passerby who advised that it was a male walking in the middle of the roadway who was concerned for his safety at that time.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Once I got to the area, I observed a male just walking in the middle of the roadway. I was in the area of Morrow Road and Litchwood.
Officer, just
Officer, hold on.
Yes.
hold up for a second.
Yeah, she couldn't hear you. I think
Okay.
we're talking a little bit too fast. Okay, Officer Michael, look at the bottom of your screen,
Okay.
and you should select on interpretation, you should select English.
If you hit more, Officer Michael, there will be interpretation, and then it'll give you, if you click on that, it'll give you a chance to select English or Spanish.
You said select English, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bermudez, may I ask you a question before I go back with Officer Michael? What was the last thing you caught from what Officer Michael said?
You should just start over.
Just start over, okay. All right, so Officer Michael,
Yes, ma'am.
when you stated you had contact from a passerby who noticed a defendant in the roadway, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. When you responded, did you observe the defendant in the roadway?
Yes, ma'am. I observed him walking on Morrow Road and Ledgewood Drive in the middle of the roadway.
And were you then able to make contact with him?
Yes, ma'am. As he was walking in the middle of the roadway, because it's a single lane for oncoming traffic. So east or west, it's a single lane on both sides. As he was walking like in the middle of the roadway, like the turning lanes. So when I observed him, I immediately pulled up next to him and see. I didn't know he didn't speak English at the time. I told him to get out the roadway, and all he did was looked at me. At that time, I did pull over and I typed in my translation and I put in Spanish and I said get out the roadway and walk on the side. And he said okay.
Right. And when did he then, after you said okay, did he actually get on the side of the road?
No, ma'am. He continued to walk in the middle of the roadway.
Right. And was there traffic on the roadway?
Yes, ma'am. He was walking towards oncoming traffic.
And when you made contact with him, were you able to smell any odor about his breath or person?
Yes, ma'am.
What odor did you smell?
The odor of alcohol,
Okay.
alcoholic beverage.
And did his manifestations, were they consistent with someone being under the influence of alcohol?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how were they consistent?
His eyes were bloodshot red. He slurred his speech. And then the odor of an alcoholic beverage was coming from his person. He reeked of alcoholic beverage.
And you said you made contact with him between Morrow Road and Ledgewood Drive. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in Clayton County, sir?
Yes, ma'am. He was walking towards Ash Street, which is in Forest Park jurisdiction. So right before he got to Ash Street, I had made contact with him.
And do you see the offender that was in the middle of the roadway intoxicated in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you identify him, please, sir?
Yes, ma'am. He's wearing an orange jumpsuit, Hispanic male.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
All right, Attorney Lane?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
You said you used a translation. Was it a device?
Yes, I used the Google Translation on my phone. That's the only thing I had at the time, being that I know he didn't speak English.
Okay. And how did you broadcast that to him? Did you put your speaker on?
Yeah, I typed it on my phone and then I put the speaker on and let it play, and then he said okay. And also I showed him the phone so he could see the Spanish translation.
Okay. So this was all off your phone. It wasn't like you blared it through the police car speakers or
No,
anything?
ma'am, no, sir, because I was right next to him, literally.
Okay. And did you give him any kind of blood or any kind of test to test to see if he had alcohol in his system?
No, sir.
Okay. And I was looking here at the report. It looks like there's no narrative in your report. It just lists the charge. Is there a reason why you didn't put a narrative in your report?
That's not my fault, sir. I did a report.
Okay. Charles, yeah, I see your name at the bottom of the report. It just the narrative's blank though.
Yeah, I have no reason why, but I did a report because it was
Okay.
yeah, I did a report.
You did a report that included a narrative?
Yes.
Okay. Was there like a redo of one, or I'm just wondering why I'm looking at this one that was provided for the hearing and it doesn't have has your name at the bottom, has the charge, has my client's name on there, but no narrative. It's
I saw that
completely
too. Saw that too in the email, but there's a report.
okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Righty, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The closing arguments, go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, is again, we pressed dismissal of the pedestrian, I guess, under the influence charge. There hasn't been any, or there was testimony provided that no testing for alcohol was done, just a general vague allegation of the odor of alcohol without giving any specifics, no mention of any alcohol being found, beverages being found on my client. And then we've got a report that doesn't include a narrative for purposes of this hearing. There's no narrative has been provided. And also would request a dismissal of the obstruction charge. There was no testimony provided, nor is there anything in the report proving a case of obstruction.
All righty, go ahead. Attorney Payne.
Yes, Your Honor, the state would contend that this should be bound up to state court based on probable cause, whereas the officer did testify to the fact that a pedestrian or a passerby actually called to say that this pedestrian was in the roadway and he made contact with them. When he made contact with them, he did smell the odor of alcohol about his breath in person. And he testified that his mannerisms were consistent with someone being under the influence of alcohol, with having slurred speech and bloodshot red eyes and watery eyes, and smelling the odor of alcohol. He also testified that he did instruct the defendant to get out of the roadway. And although the defendant said okay, he refused to move out of the roadway and walk on the side of the road and kept walking in the middle of the road, which means that he refused to obey the lawful command of the officer for obstruction. So the state would ask that you bind this up to state court.
So based upon the evidence presented, I do find sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to Clayton County, State Court, Clayton County. That's the order of the court. Both charges, I'm sorry, and the obstruction. All right, and then the next one would be Aguilera, I think it is.
Yes, Your Honor. Jose Aguilera Gonzalez. Officer Michael, you're free to go, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
That Aguilar,
Yes.
that's Mr. Aguilar.
All righty. Now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Jose Aguilera, charged in warrant number 2024 CW 52561. Representing the state is Assistant Solicitor Payne. Representing the defendant is Attorney Lane. Your witness, Ms. Payne.
Your Honor, he does have a couple other warrants as well.
Sorry, yes, my apologies. I'm going too fast here. So that was the hit and run. 2024 CW 52562, failure to yield the right of way. 2024 CW 52563, driving on expired license. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3 charges. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, you're a witness, Ms. Payne.
Yes, state would call Officer Stephen Chambly.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you raise your right hand, sir? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you state your name for the record, sir, please?
Officer Stephen Shamlin, Forest Park Police Department.
And how long have you worked with Forest Park, sir?
Approximately a year.
And did you work there back on November 2nd, 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you post certified, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you post certified on November 2nd, 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you receive a call from dispatch to investigate an accident?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you respond, sir?
Second, I responded to 636 Catherine Street in reference to a hit and run. I made contact with a victim, Tina Ferris. She stated that while driving southbound on Jonesboro Road, a Ford Explorer pulled out in front of her and collided into her Ford F-150. She began following the vehicle, and that's where we ended up at 636 Catherine Street.
Can you hold up for a second? I think the interpreter has a, I think you're
Yes.
talking too fast for the interpreter. Can you slow down?
I thought I did. Now I can. Oh, yes, I can. Yeah, I chose English. Yes, ma'am.
You were saying that the victim was following the Ford. Is that correct, sir?
So the victim was in a Ford and she was following the Ford Explorer, and that's how we ended up at 636 Catherine Street.
All right. Is that where the Ford Explorer parked?
Yes, ma'am. It parked behind the residence in a basement or at the
Alright.
basement level.
And when you saw that Ford Explorer, did she identify that Ford Explorer as the one that hit her?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did she say that Ford Explorer hit her?
The vehicle was pulling out of the Clayton County bottle shop, and it collided at an angle. It just pulled out in front of her and clipped the right side of her vehicle.
So she was driving straight on the road and the defendant's vehicle was pulling out of the auto shop?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you saw the Ford Explorer, did you then go up to that house to try to make contact with the driver?
Yeah, before I did that, I made contact with the passenger, Miss Maria, and she advised that her boyfriend, Jose Aguilar, was driving the vehicle, and that he went inside the house. And also, the victim also stated a male exited the driver's side vehicle and went inside the house. And I did attempt to make contact with Mr. Aguilar, but he would not come to the door.
Okay. And approximately how long did you wait for him to come to the door?
We were out there for at least 15, 30 minutes trying to get him to come to the door.
Okay. Were you trying to speak to him in English to come to the door? Or did you have someone help you try to get him to the door in Spanish?
No, ma'am, I just used English as knocking and asking him to come outside. And I believe his girlfriend and the landlord ended up showing up as well. His girlfriend called him on the phone. The landlord was trying to get him to come out, and he just refused to come out. I wish they both spoke Spanish, the girlfriend and the landlord.
Okay. And did his girlfriend give you his name and date of birth for you to run his information?
I don't know if she gave the date of birth, but she gave the first name, Jose Aguilar, and I was able to. He's obviously we had run-ins with him before. I was able to use 636 Catherine Street in our system, and he's popped up as he lives at 636 Catherine Street. That's how I was able to get his date of birth.
And when you got his date of birth and his full name, did you run him through GCIC and NCIC?
Yes, ma'am. I don't. If I recall, he doesn't. I believe he was unlicensed, but he just has history of being arrested in Forest Park for driving on license and incidents, other incidents.
Okay. And after he refused to come out, did you then take arrest warrants out on him?
Yes, ma'am. Due to the victim statement, the girlfriend identified him, also getting his name from history and RMS. I did take warrants out on Mr. Aguilar.
What warrants did you take out on him?
Driver on license, failure to stop an accident, and failure to yield while entering the roadway, if I'm not mistaken. There was at least those three.
And the place that the accident occurred, is that in Clayton County, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you see the driver of the vehicle on the Zoom platform today?
I was unable to get a picture because of him being unlicensed. There is no photo of him in GCIC or anything. I was unable to see him, what he looks like. So this is my first time seeing him.
Okay. No further questions.
Ready? Cross?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
Is the landlord, is that Lisa Millis?
Lisa Lewis?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember the landlord's name?
I do not. I know it was an older male, Hispanic male.
Okay.
And then I believe there was a female with him. Maybe his wife.
Okay. And you said that you were you don't speak Spanish, correct?
No, sir.
And were you using any kind of translation app to try to communicate with him?
No, sir. The only people who were speaking Spanish to him were the landlord and his girlfriend, which tried to get him out of the house. I also want to clarify, Lisa Millis she was the passenger in the vehicle that was struck by the
Okay.
Explorer.
Okay. So all you know is they were speaking Spanish allegedly to Mr. Aguilar, but you have no idea what they were telling him, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay. And did they tell you that Mr. Aguilar had been injured?
No, sir.
Okay. And as far as the vehicles, did Mr. Aguilar's car get hit from behind when he pulled out of the parking lot, or how did that happen?
No, sir. The damage was, I believe, on the left driver's side, where it clipped the right side of the Ford F-150.
Okay. And would you classify this? Was this basically like a fender bender? Was anybody injured?
No injuries that I can recall. I'd have to look back at the accident report. I don't believe that anybody stated they were injured.
And when you were speaking with his girlfriend, did she never told you that he was injured?
No, sir. She never stated that he was injured.
And did she give you any details on how the accident may have occurred?
No, sir. I don't recall asking her any details about how the accident occurred.
All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any
Yes, sir.
redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All righty. Closing arguments, go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we would just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based on evidence presented, I do find that there is a sufficient probable cause to bind all the charges over the state court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.